Money. Everybody needs it, the world runs on it, we're all trying to get some of it, and no one seems to have enough of it. Let's check out the stories behind the best money songs. UK duo Pet Shop Boys weren't just happy with some money. In 1985, they sang to the world that they wanted to make lots of money. Opportunities, Let's Make Lots of Money was a good example of the boys' determination to do what the song suggests. Since it didn't do very well when it was first released in 85, so after a remix, the song was re-released in 1986, not long after the success of West End Girls. This time it was a big hit in many countries, including the UK and the US. The song came about after Chris Lowe asked duo partner Neil Tennant to make up some lyrics around the idea, let's make lots of money.
Ask yourself this question, do you want to be rich?
With that instruction, Tennant wrote a satire of 1980s Thatcherism in the UK, focusing on two losers, one who thinks of himself as being intellectual and educated, telling the other person that by combining the singer's brains with the friend's looks and brawn, they'll be able to come up with a plan to make lots of money. Tennant said that he wrote their plotting to show how they were doomed to fail, as is often the case in real life in these types of situations. This satirical story cemented the Pet Shop Boys' reputation as musical ironists. Neil Tennant compared the song to the movie Midnight Cowboy, where Dustin Hoffman and John Voight pair up as a brains and brawn hustler combination.
Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
One of the most recognisable song intros of the 80s. Dire Straits' 1985 song Money for Nothing combined Mark Knopfler's unique opening riff with guest vocalist Sting's pleading to watch MTV. This hugely successful single from the Brothers in Arms album, plus its accompanying video, seemed perfectly timed for a huge global MTV audience. Sting even reprised his guest vocals when Dire Straits performed Money for Nothing at the Live Aid concert at Wembley in 1985.
Look at them yo-yos, that's the way you do it.
Mark Knopfler says he modelled that guitar sound on ZZ Top guitarist Billy Gibbons' trademark guitar tone. The song has a very recognisable opening hook in the form of the guitar riff that begins the song and is repeated throughout it. The well-known video included one of the first uses of computer-animated human characters and was considered groundbreaking at the time. Mark Knopfler says that he came up with the idea of the song when he was in New York, where he noticed a guy who worked in an appliance store standing next to a wall of TVs that were showing MTV at the rear of the shop. He was ranting to a fellow worker who was delivering boxes.
I should have learned to play the guitar.
Knopfler quickly borrowed some paper and started writing down what the man was saying, such as things like, that ain't working, and what are those Hawaiian noises? By drawing on these real words of an everyday worker, Knopfler was able to show how the excesses of the rock star life are perceived by the average worker.
Looky here, people, listen to my story.
Weird Al Yankovic recorded a parody based on the Beverly Hillbillies for his 1989 movie UHF. Mark Knopfler okayed the parody under one condition: he play the guitar on the song.
Black gold, the Texas tea.
I work all night, I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay.
You want it so much you've got to say it 3 times. At least that's what ABBA believed when they released the song in November 1976.
Money, 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 must be funny.
Of course they got the money. In fact, they made so much from this, and their many other hit songs, that they turned down a $1 billion offer in 2000 to get back together for a series of concerts. Benny and Bjorn claimed that they wrote the song to show both the practical and philosophical perspectives of a woman acknowledging her serious debt troubles, in spite of her efforts in working long hours and wallowing in extreme self-pity. She plots and schemes to come up with a master plan that would solve all of her financial woes, involving successfully romancing and catching a rich man. Well, it has been done before, but not always with a happy ending.
Money, 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 must be funny.
The song was included in the 2008 film Mamma Mia, sung by Meryl Streep's character Donna. Hey, at least I'm not playing any Pierce Brosnan singing.
If I had a little money, it's a rich man's world.
This here's a story about Billy Joe and Bobby Sue.
Take the Money and Run was a big hit for the Steve Miller Band in 1976. From their Fly Like an Eagle album, the song reached number 11 on the Billboard charts. Miller's Bonnie and Clyde type story about a young couple tired of being stoner TV zombies takes Billy Joe and Bobby Sue to a bungled robbery that ends up being a murder, with the Texas police in pursuit. Miller stated that he wrote the song as a salute to the road trip songs he used to sing along to when he was a kid in the backseat of his parents' car. Another characteristic of Miller's road songs is the mention of various locations. This time it was El Paso. In Rockin' Me, he does shout-outs to more cities, such as Phoenix, Atlanta and Philadelphia.
Headed down to El Paso.
While some music critics have slammed the song for cheering on the willful murder of an innocent home occupant and stealing their money, I think that maybe they failed to pay attention to all of the lyrics. Where it is clear that Billy Joe ran into a great big hassle and shot the man while robbing his castle, suggesting the shooting was not intended, and that the not too bright former stoner TV zombies will now have to spend the rest of their lives on the run from a Texas detective, plus probably other cops who are determined to bring them to justice. The listener isn't being asked to cheer Billy Joe and Bobby Sue on, but actually realise the hopeless situation that they are now in, and that the only way they can survive is to take the money and run.
Headed down south and they're still running today.
The best things in life are free.
While you've probably heard several versions of this well-known song, it was Barrett Strong who gave us the original in 1960.
But you can give them to the birds and bees. I need
Written by Motown founder Gordy, with the help of Janie Bradford and Barrett Strong, this became the first hit record for Motown and was listed as number 288 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. The upbeat song, with 18-year-old Barrett loudly insisting his need for money, was Strong's only hit as a singer. However, Strong became a Motown writer-lyricist, co-writing some of the biggest soul songs ever to be released by Motown, including I Heard It Through the Grapevine, War, and Papa Was a Rollin' Stone, plus many others. The timing of this song was interesting, as it was a hit right in the middle of the payola scandal, where disc jockeys were being investigated for taking bribes in exchange for playing records. Gordy was warned that DJs wouldn't play a song about craving cash, but that sure didn't stop them. Strong's original version was used in the movie Animal House.
I've never seen anything like this.
money, don't get everything, it's true.
The Beatles recorded their own rocked-up version after spotting Strong's version in Brian Epstein's Nem's record store.
The best things in life are free.
The quirky 1979 Flying Lizards version was probably the one that was the most accurate in the desperate financial need of the artists, especially considering band founder David Cunningham's confirmation that the budget for their recording of Money was less than $10.
That's what I want.
That easily recognisable opening sound mix has been telling listeners what this song is about, even before the first word is sung, for over 45 years. Pink Floyd's Money is from the 1973 album The Dark Side of the Moon. Ironically, while money may be about the bad things money can bring, Pink Floyd made a lot of it thanks to this song in the album, as the album sold over 34 million copies. Money was Pink Floyd's first USA hit and was the highest charting single from The Dark Side of the Moon. The album actually stayed on the Billboard charts for 14 years. That mix of coins and cash register sounds was thanks to Roger Waters creating a tape loop that plays throughout the song. It also contains the sounds of tearing paper and bags of coins being thrown into an industrial food mixing bowl. The album was engineered by famed British producer and studio genius Alan Parsons at Abbey Road Studios, where he also worked with the Beatles on Abbey Road and Let It Be. Parsons later started his own band called the Alan Parsons Project. The song satires the attitudes of the wealthy.
So they say.
The line, money, so they say, is the root of all evil today, was intended as a paraphrase from the Bible scripture in 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10 that says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. This is where the boys seem to have misinterpreted the verse, which was actually talking about greed and how the love of money is the problem rather than money itself. The lyrics are briefly referenced in the film The Wall, when the young student Pink is caught writing poems in class by his teacher.
Money, get back. I'm all right, Jack. Keep your hands off my stack.
Well, there you have it, rockers. Did we get them right? If you can think of any that we might have missed, please mention them in the comments below. If we get enough good suggestions, we might make a second list. Oh, and please remember to click like and subscribe if you want to see more lists like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and keep rocking.